Quinnipiac just came out with a poll showing that congressional Republicans have around a 40% approval rating right now, but congressional Democrats are at, as I recall, 26%. It's below 30% anyway. And a lot of this seems to be, particularly among Democrats, Democratic voters, anger that while Republicans have been very successful at blocking Democratic initiatives, people remember Tommy Tuberville blocking all military promotions for a year in opposition to abortion services for women in the military. Democrats have not succeeded, apparently, or at least there's not the perception that Democrats have succeeded at stopping any of this craziness. I'm curious your thoughts on that. And also, you know, what should have been my first question, is there anything on your mind that you want to share with our listeners before we start picking up phone calls?
Well, there's so much. So I think we can, you know, I think it'll all come up in the phone calls. We just did a town hall here in person, and we had 2,500 people sign up. We only had capacity for about 1,000. We filled the hall. And my focus really was on really talking about how we need to fight back as Democrats in Congress, in the courts, and also how we need people to join us and get trained and ready for action in the streets, because it's a three-pronged strategy. You're right. We need to fight hard. And what I said is, I am not giving my vote to be complicit in any of the things that they are doing. And even on the budget, I think you're seeing more and more of us say that unless they assure us with an ironclad commitment, and I have to say, I'm not sure what that ironclad commitment is, because they give commitments and walk away, that we can't approve even a budget negotiation and give our votes for that, because they're taking all of the Article 1 powers and blowing right by them and essentially ignoring our authorizations and appropriations. So I do think the anger is about people feeling like Democrats need to fight harder. You know, in the Senate in particular, there was lots of opportunities for Democrats to unite against some of these horrific cabinet picks. And that wasn't always the case. And so I think people see that and they feel like we are, what's the phrase? We're taking a butter knife to a gunfight. We're not really, you know, standing up and fighting. Now, that said, Tom, I want to say that we don't have the majority. We can't, in the House anyway, we can't block things because it's the majority that moves a vote forward if they have all of their majority.
Right, you don't have a filibuster.
Majority, correct. We don't have the authority. I mean, people say, well, shut down the government. We're not the ones that shut down the government. The Republicans have control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. So if their party together, they should not count on us for votes, and they will be shutting down the government. And I think they're trying to shift the blame already and say Democrats want to shut down the government. I just want everyone to be clear that we don't have that power because we don't have the majority of votes. We can insist that we are not going to be complicit in the things that they are doing. And I think that's what you saw in the Budget Committee markup last week. My committee, we were there until 10 o'clock at night. We started at 9 in the morning. Not a single Democrat voted for their horrific budget resolution that slashes Medicaid, slashes all these programs and services, and takes that money and puts it towards tax cuts for the wealthiest. This is another Trump tax scam 2.0, Tom, and we cannot be complicit in this. We have to do everything we can to call attention to what these abuses are, the constitutional crisis that we're in when the president becomes an authoritarian, which he said he was going to be, dictator from day one. That is what he's been. He's ignoring Article 1 powers. He's ignoring the judicial branch. And he's blasting right through with these unconstitutional illegal activities. So it is a real crisis.
Yeah. The challenge to democracy itself here by Trump and his attacks on Zelensky, which I see also as an attack on democracy itself.
Yes.
Elon Musk tearing our government apart. I could just imagine, and this is my paranoid fantasy, I suppose. I could just imagine Vladimir Putin having one of his many phone conversations over the last couple of years with Elon Musk and Donald Trump, saying, well, you guys, the government is it's all so corrupt and it's full of, fraud and abuse and waste. And I'll bet people would just love it if you just, cut the government down to size. I mean, people have been talking about this for years. And really, what Putin's goal is to destroy the American government. And that looks like that's what they're doing. I don't know if they're doing it at Putin's behest or at Curtis Yarvin's, at the behest of some, right-wing philosopher king. But it looks to me like this goes way beyond just trying to allocate some money for tax cuts for billionaires.
No, I think that's absolutely right. But they are tied. I would say that dictators, authoritarian rulers are all about preserving all the benefits for a tiny class of people, for themselves, for the wealthiest. And so I do think that is very much a part of it. But you're absolutely right that the playbook for this was written by dictators around the world. And calling Zelensky a dictator, as Trump did yesterday, is a stunning reversal of the position that the United States has held about protecting democracies, about ensuring that we are coming together as a global community to fight back against dictators who invade other countries. And I think that is, I'll be at a rally this weekend actually here in Seattle with the Ukrainian community talking about this because it has enormous implications, as you're seeing in Europe, around the world. And it is a playbook for all dictators around the world.